Live. Hey, there we are. Hey, everybody, we're gonna get going here. Anyways, we're gonna go live here. All right, ready, Mitch?
Yes, sir.
3, 2, 1, record.
Test, test, test. Now I got to get on
Testing one,
the other
two.
one. All right. All right. They're both up. You all can give me a test.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing one,
Check,
two, four.
check.
Um, you guys are clipping. Hold on.
Ooh,
Nah.
isn't that a foul? I'll have to ask Tracy. Tracy Holtz, if you're listening to the show, clipping? No clipping. Oh, that's checking.
Hold on.
No.
Talk.
Test 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. My son's got Macy's parade practice today.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. All right.
Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 3.
How about you, Tim?
Check. 1, 2, 3. Check.
The man with the voice.
I control it for the main output of this PC here.
Tim's got that voice. Ladies and gentlemen.
Keep hearing that, but I don't know.
You have a voice for radio.
I got a face for radio.
No, I didn't say face. I said voice. I was
I know
careful.
what I said. I have. I don't know. Anyway, I do my best.
All right. We are good. We are good. Ladies
We're
and
good?
gentlemen, we are good.
All right. I'm going to try to talk like Tim today. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2.
I'm going to talk like Martin.
I'm going to try to talk so people can hear me.
I'm not sure what I would sound like.
You sound like just a lot of smart stuff. I couldn't pull it off. Just smart
No.
stuff. You know. Yeah, anyway, I'm not going to carry on. You're the anchor here, man.
Don't put me too high on a pedestal. Don't do it. Oh, go on.
Serious. I mean, you got. I don't know. I don't know what it looks like when the camera's off, but when the camera's on, you got it together, man. I'll tell you what.
Oh, when the camera is off, I run around the house like I'm on fire. Like on the Talladega Nights when Ricky Bobby thinks he's on fire. That's kind of what I look like.
See, I don't run anyway. I barely walk places, so.
My little lark.
Good movie, by the way. Talladega Nights.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Funny.
Dear baby Jesus. Sorry. Come at you like a spider monkey. All right. We're good, you said, Mitch?
Yes.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Geeksters episode 136. This is a show where we talk about all things geeky. If it's got a computer in it, at some point, we're going to talk about it. I'm Martin Abando, one of the hosts. Before I introduce my other hosts here, I want to go ahead and thank Repair Tech Solutions for the support of the Podnuts Network. They've got a program called Tech Suite, the ultimate computer repair toolkit. It downloads, installs, maintains, and automates over 300 commonly used repair utilities. You can even whitelist it and do what you need to for your own stuff. Any questions about Repair Toolkit, want to check it out a little bit more, go to podnuts.com. Up in the top banner, right across the top, you're going to see a logo for them. So we want to thank them for that, and you can find out more about them at podnuts.com, right at the top, or you can go to repairtechsolutions.com. Hey, Tim and Mitch, it's good to see you guys again. I feel like it's been 2 fiscal weeks since we've had a chance to talk.
And it has been.
Well,
2 weeks.
At least my internal clock is working still.
14 days.
Yeah, it has. It's been 2 weeks, so I would say that feels about right.
Oh, wait, maybe 2 weeks and an hour because of the time change.
Yes.
So.
No, let's see. What do we fall back? Because
yeah, we gained an hour.
It's
but the show's like an hour long. So do we break even? For watch. Right?
Well, we're minutes into the show and my head already hurts.
Which way did we go? I don't know. We'll submit that to accounting.
That's right. Ladies in accounting, if you could take care of that for us, that'd be great.
Oh, yeah. There can't be men in accounting? What is this, 1945?
My accountant is a female. I apologize to all anybody who was offended by that. My bookkeeper, but my tax guy is a male, so they cross each other out.
All tax guys are guys now because they can't be
didn't say
trusted. They're all dirtbags, right? Not that all. Wait a minute. What did I just? Not that all tax people are. Well, so we go. Can we change the subject, please?
If people want to send us hate mail, Tim, where can they send it to us at?
It was Steve Cherubino at what is it? I can't remember how that goes again.
Oh my goodness. How's it going? How's it going, guys? We've a lot has happened in the last 2 weeks. It's nice to see you guys again.
Yes. It's
Feel
nice.
like I was
Yeah.
feel like I was so close yet so far.
It was
Hey,
empty this week without you guys. Very empty.
yeah, I mean, I always miss it. Listeners and that, and all the people in the chat room. I'm curious, Mitch. You kind of guys hanging on. Like, is everything dialed in with your house? I mean,
Well,
what's
yeah,
going on?
that's
What's going on there now?
yeah, I got good news on that too. Actually, they're coming tomorrow to do some stuff. Yeah, they're going to put that second flood on the first claim. So
Oh, that's
Nice.
great news.
kind of sweating bullets there. And
Well, I'll tell you what, you just can't go wrong with the fine men and women of the insurance industry.
I don't. I was going to plug them. Should I plug them? Nah, better not. Be my insurance company.
Well, sure, why not?
That's it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Allstate. All right.
No, 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 no.
Wait, no, that's the lizard one. That's the lizard sings that song. I got it.
My policy is for pod nuts. What do you guys have?
I just it's just straight up cash.
You were wrong, Mark. The lizard is not.
That's great.
Oh, I don't want to give it away. I want people to guess.
Yeah, you know what? I'm doing real well. I wanted to ask you about your Halloween. How was your Halloween?
Oh, I gave out. We normally go out, and I said I feel like giving out candy this year, and so we had all of 10 people.
No kidding.
Yeah. For some reason, where I live in, well, you live in Pennsylvania too, so maybe, we got townships up here. I live in West Manheim Township. For whatever reason, they always have it on the Tuesday before Halloween. Don't ask me.
Oh,
From 6 to 8. It's been like I've been up here 20 years.
Wait, it's the Tuesday before Halloween. They celebrate Halloween.
Yes.
So if you forget and people
Well,
just
I
random
think we'll-
strangers start showing up at your door on a Tuesday.
We have a parade in town. That might have something to do with it, so everybody can go to the parade.
yeah, okay.
Oh
I
my goodness.
A really big parade in the square.
see that.
Is that
And,
even legal?
how many
Can they
towns
just-
do that,
Can they just move a holiday? I mean, it's not like Christmas or Easter, but can you really?
Well,
What if Thanksgiving, where they just up and just willy-nilly make Thanksgiving in June?
Halloween's a little different than those real holidays.
I know. I'm just.
But they have a really sophisticated parade that I've never been to in 20 years. I saw it on TV, but I said that might have something to do with it. So I don't know.
Well, and you know what? And the thing is, it's complicated with Beggars Night because you have all the safety crews out there, the first responder. You got the police, they're patrolling, the fire departments. I don't know if they make a big deal about that in your community, but I was really impressed. With in the community that we typically go to to. We go to a different part. We go to the nice part of town where they give good candy. No. It's we take the kids to the grandparents because they live in a nice plan. It's very walkable. Everybody knows. Of course, they've been there forever. It's where I live. It's great the other 360 something days of the year because there's nobody around. I mean, it's very rural and oh my gosh, it's like it's a real hike to the next house, and they're not expecting anybody, and so it's just no fun for the kids. So we always go out there, and it was really fantastic. The number of policemen that were out keeping an eye on things, and the fire trucks. And one thing I'd never noticed before, but I think it was 6 to 8, and man, when it hit 8 o'clock, you heard every siren in town going off, saying that was it. It was pretty cool. So
You have a 2-hour limit there, too.
yeah, I mean with all the safety services and everything, maybe they don't want them tied up on a Friday night. You think maybe that's something to do with it? I don't know. I mean, Friday's ideal for going trick or treating, but 6 to 8, maybe that's not the best time to have all the cops tied up. I mean, that's when you hit the bank, right?
My son and daughter-in-law, they asked me if I wanted to go with them. They took my grandson, year and a half old, trick or treating, so I went with them. That was pretty exciting. He was a fireman. Nicholas was a fireman.
Oh, outstanding.
Yeah, and that was in Maryland, and still got a lot of kids on history. They went to about maybe 6 houses, And he's
Yeah.
gonna sleep after a couple of houses, but it was cool. It was fun.
Well, that's cool. Hey, we're on the topic of Halloween. I wanted to kind of hit on some things. I put together a little list of things not to give out. during Beggar's Night. True treat. All right.
Okay, so for next year, don't give these out.
Yeah, and this is really common sense stuff, but and these are and I didn't make up some ridiculous list like, don't put a kitten in a bag. I mean that's obviously that's a bad idea, but this is a real list. These are things that my kids actually got. Now, my son, he recommended nothing with the word sour or patch in it, especially things that have both sour and patch in them. Not good. So that was his contribution. Anyway, things that I dug out of my daughter's bag, they get home, they sort it out and everything. These are real things. She 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 pulled out like some oat bran bar. Look,
Hey, kids got to keep regular too, man. Come on.
you've got you've
Health?
got you've got all year.
Tim has a guest. Are you going to?
Well, before he gets back, then my Halloween, I was busy working on another project, so I didn't even get home until later. And then I just kind of wandered around with my daughter. She dressed up as Dorothy from Wizard of Oz, and all of her friends were, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and it was actually really fun. And we just wandered around, and there wasn't nearly as many kids as there was last couple of years. We went back to our old neighborhood just right around the corner, and that was pretty quiet. So we got home, and my wife joined us, and we just kind of hung out, and it was a nice resting. It was a relaxful one. I still have like a bag and a half of candy because we weren't home.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure why we went to Costco, got 2 big bags of candy, and then weren't home that night.
Yeah,
That's
well,
just
I think I know why.
that's just a recipe for like diabetes. That's all that is.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Well, when my brother was living in town or in Maryland before he moved, he used to have Halloween parties every year. So the whole family would come over dressed up. And one year Mark and I were, she was Dorothy, I was the Scarecrow. And yeah,
Nice.
good times. I miss that. Yeah, we had some pretty good outfits.
So anyway, get back to my sorry for the interruption. I had an in-house support request for a moment. Okay, so anyway, we're digging through my daughter's bag. Look, you have all year. Yeah, Halloween is, if you want to make a statement about health, Halloween. Why? Why would you choose that? Okay, let the kids have their fun. Spend the rest of the year figure out the healthy stuff. Okay, you're not the neighborhood cop. Don't be a jerk. Nothing healthy. All right, oat brand bars out. Another thing, and this has been a pet peeve of mine. I don't know who buys this. Okay, don't give out cans of this. All right, I'm holding up a can of Faygo. All right, nobody drinks this. Who drinks this? Do you guys drink this?
I've never even heard of it.
I don't think I've heard of it.
Oh, you got to be kidding me. All
Wait.
right. Well,
And is it diet?
well, it's basically like off-brand pop, soda pop, except it's like the off-brand that's sold everywhere and enjoyed by no one.
Well, it says their website says it's the original party pop.
It's like the Wow soda.
It's the Wow soda.
It's the Wow soda. So, Detroit, Michigan. I didn't know where this came from, but anyway, Faygo. This was something growing up that, once again, Faygo is like really popular. People buy it. It comes in all different flavors, whatever. It's very common to find it mixed when making punch. So mixed it, you mix in a 2-liter with a quart of ice cream or something like that. But don't give out cans of Faygo. And along the same lines, those little hugs, those little juice drink, like fake. It's like nasty Kool-Aid, those little hugs.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't give those out either, okay? The weight alone, you're going to break a little kid's back trying to carry like 3 houses of those and they're done. That's just wrong. So none of the little hugs. Another terror, and this is stuff that we found in our bag. Do not give out fortune cookies from the local Chinese restaurant.
That is awesome.
Okay? That's literally as cheap as it gets, okay?
Yes.
Don't give out fortune cookies from the local Chinese restaurant. And then the last thing that I had, this is probably one of the worst things. You know what? I'd take a rock before I got this. She got, and this is no joke, she got a she got like a little coupon for a good for one free tumbling class at the local hot. I'm not gonna say it. The local little little Tykes cheerleading class.
Right.
Okay, good for one free tumbling class. Don't give out coupons for anything or during trick or treats. So you may think you're giving out a treat, but you're still gonna get eggs thrown at your house.
It's the new age, Tim. The new age.
Is it really?
No,
What's
I think I heard him talking about that on the radio. I was going to work one day. There's things to give out besides candy. I think I did hear something like that.
Well, that I didn't say that wasn't something to give out besides candy. I'm just saying it's a terrible thing to give out besides candy.
I
I mean,
know.
I could just be peeling blown caps off motherboards and throwing those in their bag. It's still not a good idea.
One USB mouse for you. One USB mouse for you.
They should use kneecaps.
A PS2.
Mice.
You don't
Here's
need
an
those anymore.
here's an ATX power supply.
You know what? That's actually a fantastic idea. Because I just have stacks of stuff. You can't you can't get rid of this stuff anymore. How do you get rid of it? One piece at a time.
One piece at a time. One little
2 hours
child at a time.
During 2 hours, the stuff just hauls itself. It just hauls itself away.
Daddy, what's this? I got this, Dad. What's this?
Oh, that's cool.
Anyway, so those were like some bombs, but we had a fantastic time. It was actually the first time where I walked the children around, and I think by house 20 maybe, we dropped her brother off, or the dead weight as she was calling him, and I mean we just pounded the houses, and so she knows she's only got a couple years left, and she's making the most of it. So we had a fantastic time.
Very cool. Very cool. Hey, it's just a quick public service announcement. I know it's still 4 o'clock over here on the Pacific side, the West Coast, but so you guys are probably getting close to polling's being closed at your area if they haven't already closed. But go ahead and go out. You can pause the show. We'll still be back, but go ahead and go out and vote if you haven't already done so. That's my little public service announcement. All right, Mitch is gone. Ladies and gentlemen, Mitch has left the building.
Good for that. Thank you. And also, we set the clocks back, and I hit this a couple weeks ago. It's kind of a small thing, but it's the old man in me coming out that twice a year we do the clocks, and that's a good time. I beg you, check them smoke alarms. It's such a small thing, but it's just so devastating what a fire can do. Throw some new batteries in there. Whatever else you need to do twice a year. Wash the windows or just simple things around the house. Flip the mattress. But man, get them smoke alarms, folks. It's the little things that just slip away. So it's so easy not to do, and it's so cheap to grab a pack of batteries, change them out, and just please do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've had a pretty exciting couple weeks. So after our podcast 2 weeks ago, I then left on that Thursday to OLF. I was back on Monday. That was fun. I had a good time. Good time there. Sorry I missed you guys being there. And but I got a chance to meet some of the regulars that came. Rhino was there, and Rhino brought his son. So he brought his son. That was fun to meet him.
Nice.
We had Bill was there. Red Dwarf, he was there. Of course, Dor was there. Jeff and Ellis Owens, who came last year, we got a chance to meet them. They couldn't make it this year. I did get a chance to meet Mary T from Sunday Morning Linux Review for the first time, so that was nice meeting her. Matthew Williams was unable to make it. I met Sherwin Williams, who's also helps out, does some podcasting stuff within Podnuts. He's on every now and then. He was there, and I met Johnny for the very first time in person.
And Rich.
Well, I met Rich last year.
That's right. Yeah. He was. He was
Rich, Flying Rich.
Rich Hughes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was there last year, so I got a chance to meet with him. But I had a good time. It was fun to meet everybody. I flew this time. I flew right into Columbus.
Which is probably a lot better than driving 6 or 7 hours with It wasn't that
Yeah.
bad. I mean, if you weren't
Nah.
talking, but I was too long of a trip, though. I mean, too much for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So flew right in. Jumped right 2 feet right into the whole gang. Got a chance to meet everybody, talk with everybody. Did have to do some work over the weekend, but everybody kind of left on Sunday. I was there for another day. Left Monday morning and came right back home. And like I still told Mitch earlier, I landed in Portland, jumped in my car, headed straight to a client. So just, I mean, I kid you not. I
This
didn't
guy
even.
is the man. I'm telling you what, he's the man. He's an animal. I'm
Straight
surprised you
to.
did. I have expect you to parachute out of the plane.
Straight to a client. So that was an interesting call. The client called me up and said they couldn't log into their computer. It was giving them a communications error between the computer and the domain controller. It says no authorized domain controller was available, or something along those lines. And that usually happens if I see that sometimes on laptops. So if you take your laptop, say I see this a lot is actually in the school. Teachers will take their laptop home, and then after a certain amount of time, the laptop will lose the cache credential. So then you have to bring it back to the school, plug it back in, log back in, and now the laptop can communicate with the domain controller, and then therefore allow you to log on. So this computer wouldn't do that. I tried to log on with my domain admin, nothing would work. So the next day I had to come back and use the password tool that basically wipes out the local admin password because we didn't have that, and then rejoin the domain, and she was back up and running, no problem. But
Cool. Well, I'm sorry. What caused this?
some communication error.
Oh,
Just
okay.
I don't know what happened, but it lost communication with the domain controller.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, that was that Tuesday, and then Tuesday, of course, we didn't have a Geeksters last week. It was just I was playing catch up still, and that whole week was just super busy. Got a call, I think Friday. Yeah, I got a call Friday from one of my clients in the Bay Area. She was working on another project, had something open, clicked a couple times. Next thing you know, her computer was completely infected.
Mm.
No, that would have been Halloween, so bought plane tickets Sunday morning, 6 a.m. I'm on another flight down to the Bay Area. Walked in down there and got her all cleaned up using D7.
Wow.
So was there for about 2.5 hours getting everything cleaned up, and then came home. So luckily I was actually bumped up to first class on the way home, so that was kind of exciting. Got a chance to sit in first class.
Well, how'd that happen?
Lucky me, I guess.
Really?
Yeah. So, you know,
Oh.
I think a first class on an hour and 40-minute flight is like, I wasn't overly impressed, but I think first class on a longer flight is probably a lot better. I could have drank anything I wanted to. I mean, they were handing out wine like it was water. I was good. I had my little diet soda, but they served you appetizers, like they had a nice salad and stuff completely free. It's like, oh, so there are some perks for it.
I guess it is only an hour? What'd you say? An hour and 40, hour and 45 minutes? I mean, that's really not that long.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
it's barely even a movie.
Yeah. So I then landed, and that was Sunday. So my Saturday was full doing stuff, and then Sunday I was gone. I did come home early. That was nice. Was able to get an earlier flight home. So instead of getting home at 8:30 or landing at 8:30, I was able to land at 3:30. So I was able to be at home a little bit longer. But so
Nice.
I've been every Sunday I've been in a plane so far.
Jet setter.
You might have
Oh
to
my
buy yourself one.
Dylan,
Fly it.
pardon me?
You might have to buy yourself a plane and learn how to fly it.
Oh, but the insurance on that, gosh, can't even imagine what the car payments are.
I knew a guy that flew a plane. He was a real piece of work.
Down.
Yeah, those pilots.
I tell you, he was a pistol. Remember Fred? Remember that guy?
Name sounds vaguely familiar.
Oh
What
boy,
was
he
that?
was something else.
Something?
Say it again.
What was his name? PC something?
I don't know, Fred. He just called me the Hat, and I didn't like that.
You know what? He's in Florida now.
No. What do you
Like
mean?
Like living there, or
I'll tell you after the show.
oh, all right. So what have you guys been up to then? That was my week. I mean, I got stories to tell of customers and clients, but
What, Mitch? You were telling me before the show some of the stuff you had cooking, buddy.
I just got a close friend of mine. Like I'm not, I just do this stuff on the side, and so a lot of times I go through long periods without doing anything. But a good friend of mine, he's got an older. It's a HP DV 6500. He had it about 7 years. It's got Vista in there, and so I'm trying to, and it's kind of rugged, sluggish. He'll get these little lockups here and there, but it'll continue after a while.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to talk him, let me upgrade it. So I bought more RAM for it, and I got a spare hard drive. So why don't you let me put 7 on there? So I'm going to go over there Sunday and do that, and or Saturday rather, and so maybe you can get a little more time out of it. But that's about all the work I've done around here. Yeah, I haven't worked on anything in a while.
Well, it seems like you were telling me something earlier. I had a good one come in. This was this is a real throwback to problems I'd see all the time. Um, Guy that I know him from kids are friends. I've talked to him so many times, but people find out you repair computers. What it's only a matter of time till they come to you with something, and he it's typical story. The kids had it. One day it was working, next day it's not. They actually had their their ISP is actually Verizon using one of those jetpacks. So, which is it's a very workable solution for a lot of people out here because you get in a rural area that you're too far out for DSL, and in many cases, if you're too far off the road, Comcast wants all kind of money to run wire out. I know that one friend of mine, Comcast told him $3,000 just to pull a wire. I think they were three or four telephone poles off the road. They were ways back, and so one of these jetpacks, it's actually a very cost-effective solution. Unless you're doing a lot of crazy stuff, your up and down speeds are perfectly adequate for what they're doing. As long as you watch your data, you're in good shape. And plus, it's beautiful because, you leave the house, you take your laptop, boom, you got that mobile data wherever you go. So you just gotta take the internet with you. So anyway, this is what they were doing. And he brings me his laptop. He just says, one day it worked, one day it didn't. I said, well, all right. So I bring it home, and this thing was just a complete disaster. I mean, I didn't even know where to begin. I didn't even know where to begin with it. I actually had to call him back a couple days later and ask him what exactly the complaint was because there were so many things
that you saw.
There were so many things here that were wrong. I wasn't quite sure which one he wanted fixed. I mean, basically, I just understood that one day it had internet access and the next day it didn't. Well, I verified Jetpack was good, and it actually connected to the laptop with a USB cable, but I wasn't sure if that was just to charge it or if there was actually an internet it was actually getting the internet connection that way, which kind of I wasn't used to seeing that before. But while I'm looking over the USB cables, sorry, the connectors, there were 3 USB connectors. Well, one of them was completely inop. One of them seemed to kind of work, and then the other one, like, you ever seen the connector where the the 4 pins are there, but that little black plastic piece there is like broken out of it, and it was like that. You could tell some kids had the thing. It had a USB mouse in it because it was it was like one of the IBMs or Lenovo's. It doesn't have a mouse pad. It has the what do they call it, a track point or something? What do they call it?
Yeah. My laptop does that. Yeah, right in the middle of the keyboard, it has the little red dot. And
Yeah. Well, this thing. First of all, this computer, the username was was government user. I actually called the guy. I'm like, it had a Vista sticker on it, but it had 7 installed. I'm like, I said, where on earth did this thing come from? I had a lot of questions. I mean, this thing was. He said that, I don't know. It was all legit, but anyway. So.
Yeah, that makes you go, what?
So, but the it had a USB mouse, which once it would kind of work, but it was intermittent. And so I thought, well, that was probably the USB connector that was bad. And so anyway, the first thing I did was I went and stole one of them little rubber dots that goes on that little track point or whatever it's called. I can't remember.
No, it is. Yeah, it is called a track point.
Okay. There you go. All right. Wow, I remembered something. So, and that's actually like a user replaceable item, like because I suppose it would wear out over time. You can pop that little rubber thing off. This thing was missing completely, so I don't think he even knew that you could do that. All they knew was it had like a left and right button and no track touch or touchpad. So, stuck that thing on there. At least I could get around the thing. And gosh, okay. So what I finally discovered was that there was nothing wrong with at least the one USB uh, uh, um, connector. That it was actually the USB mouse that was intermittent. All right, so we threw that out, and the the jetpack was fine. And so what I boiled it down to was that this thing it just lost its wireless adapter. It just lost the wireless adapter. I hook it up. Of course, I hook it up. This thing was heavily infected. All right, well, we get that all cleaned out, and so, but I did not have my wireless adapter it was enabled on Windows, and I booted it up with a Linux Live Disk, and once again, it still wasn't available, and so I was really scratching my head, and I saw where somebody suggest and see that could be disabled in the BIOS. I boot in the BIOS. Well, it was enabled. And at the end of all this, the only thing, the reason that he brought it to me, and the fix to the reason that he brought it to me was there was a physical switch on the front of the case that had gotten slid over, disabling the
Wireless.
adapter. So, like, how many thousands of times have we seen that? And
I've done it.
well, I just laughed at myself because, and the thing is that all these things, it needed that. I mean, I cleaned it up real nice for him. It was running real smooth, and the Windows updates. I got my Resident AV was running and scanning properly. I mean, I had that thing running like a top. Cleaned it up and got at least that little touch point. That thing at least got a little rubber disc on it, so you use that. We threw that mount. I mean, we solved a lot of issues, but I mean, ultimately, what it boils down to was that the one thing that actually came was that physical switch. And I could have slapped myself because how many times I've kind of chuckled myself when customers overlooked that. But I don't know. Anyway, them kids must have found it or got bumped or something, so we switched it over, and I was glad because after all that, I was starting to wonder what on earth I was looking at here. So anyway. Word of the wise, don't forget the old days. I don't miss that. I don't miss those stupid physical switches. Was that just what was why?
Oh, it's happened. I mean, you remember I guess they still have them, the Motorola modems Comcast used to use, those SB whatever.
Yeah.
Well, they have a
surfboard.
Yeah, they have a button on there where you could pause it or
I've got one over here.
Stand by. And I was working on my stepdaughters before, and I'm like leaning over, and I just happened to have my hand over there because the internet was working fine before that, and then it wouldn't work. And I didn't realize I had my hand on there. I wound up calling Comcast and trying to do everything, and they said, check the modem. Sure enough, that's what it was.
Yep.
That's easy to do too, or just kind of it tips over or something bumps it or something, and
yep.
So that's. You gotta explain this to honestly. That to me is that is a real. That's where you get into the whole thing. I think where Apple has always had a leg up because when the same vendor controls both the software and the hardware, a lot of things don't go wrong because hopefully a lot of the same people are making the same decisions about it. The system globally, as a whole, where I think Microsoft. I think they suffer a lot from where their intentions go one way, and then the hardware, the manufacturers, they go another way, and when you put it all together, it kind of leaves you as the end user, it kind of leaves you scratching your head. But I'll admit I never quite understood the whole hardware switch. I mean. That has to be a throwback to something. I mean, what what was the situation where you needed to like? Was it power saving maybe?
Well, I mean, it's a physical switch because either there's not enough room on the keyboard. I mean, most computers have some kind of a physical switch, whether it's Dell's in their like function F8 or like my Lenovo has a physical switch on the side. I use it all the time, but this switch is hard to turn off. It's a tiny switch. You have to really get in there to turn it off. So I know I can never bump it to turn it off. They've made, a lot of them have the little front switches, and I think we've all gone on those calls where, like you said, I can't connect. I was connected once before. You walk over, or I drive there because nothing else works.
Yeah.
You walk in, you go flip. Oh, there's the problem.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was there. I think it has.
So I mean, why is it so important? We have a physical switch that the user can, bam, they can just shut off the wireless, but I mean, but then you ask them to plug in a cable, and that's disabled, in software. I suppose you could just pull the cable, but I mean, what was this world that everybody was living in where we had to like break it from the internet before anything horrible happened or something? I could see it as a power saving feature, I suppose. I don't know. I'm sure there's some very, very good reason, but to me, I mean, you can disable it in software. I mean, there's all these soft keys, and then the switch, and it just goes on and on. It's like, oh my gosh, why does it have to be so complicated? Can't we just have like I don't know. Anyway, but anyway, that was kind of exciting. He was all happy, he got it back, and that's at some point he's going to pay me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had, yeah. I mean, I got a call.
I had to work for friends.
Well, I got a call that was, I had internet. Now the internet's gone. Well, what happened? Nothing. We moved some stuff, but really nothing. Nothing's happened. It's like, well, that's.
So everything broke on the internet side.
Right. Everything just burned down. Okay.
The whole internet broke.
Right. Okay. So let's look at your cable modem. What do you see? All these lights are on. Okay. Let's look. We reset the cable modem. We reset the router. Nothing. I said, let's do this. Nothing. Let's disable. Let's re-enable the adapter on her computer. I can't do anything remotely because she's down. I said, let's just look behind the computer. How many are there lights? Are there lights on the card? She gets there and she goes, oh, the cable's unplugged.
Ah.
So we plug in the cable. Ding. and those are frustrating ones because you don't expect the cable just to fall out of the back of the computer. And so you try to keep it simple.
Yeah.
But then you kind of go, well, I don't want to go, super, I don't know. It's hard to, you want to keep it simple and you want to start from the simplest thing first, but yet you don't want to go all the way back to the beginning. Because
I do. I go right. I do. You know what? I am so over like trying to not sound like they're stupid. It's you just do yourself a disservice. Just starting out at the beginning, it's like you just start. I mean, from a diagnostic standpoint, you just start at the beginning, and a lot of times that's a reboot. But you just start at the beginning, and if they're stupid, then they'll own up to it. But you just talk to them like they're not stupid, and you just start with the simplest things. That I had that call once. It's a fantastic lady, not stupid, but I made the mistake of not starting from the very beginning, and she had the laptop just died. It just died, and it was plugged in, it was charging, and I said, "Oh my gosh!" And you know what? At the time, of course, I think my head was in the middle of like a DV7 or some such thing, and so I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm thinking, the it really my imagination really ran away with me. I imagined the motherboard's damaged, and so it's plugging, it's charging, but it's not charging the battery, and so it'll run off for a while. I'm like, "Is your wireless working? How about your graphic?" Trying to suss out all these symptoms, and it was so stupid. It was like it was plugged in. Yes, it was plugged in, but was it charging? No, because there was some kind of a lightning thing outside. It tripped the GFI, and the GFI cut off the power at some other receptacle, and it killed the power at this receptacle. And so all I needed to do was just ask the lady to plug in a lamp. But it took me an hour and a half on the phone to finally suss that out. It's like, oh my gosh. And what she was like, she was like, she felt silly too, but I felt really silly because from a diagnostic standpoint, it's like you have to it doesn't matter if it's plugged in if it's not if there's no power there. So you just determine that there actually is power.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's hard. You get a call and it's like you try and you sometimes it's easy to make things too complicated.
Oh yeah.
It's very easy to make things too complicated.
I hear you. I hear you.
Those things are complicated for me.
Yeah. So one of the calls that I received. What?
I was just mumbling under my breath. It's easy to make things too complicated. It really is.
It is because we always think. I mean, we've seen all the extremes, and so sometimes we have a tendency to go all the way to the other extreme.
Well, especially if you've just seen it. Like it's
Right.
fresh in your mind. I'll tell you what. I have a diagnostics background, and I was very, very fortunate to take a class in college regarding diagnostics, specifically to auto mechanics. But the guy, the main takeaway was supposed to be how to properly learn how to just diagnose things with the car, engine, and all these other types of things. But what the guy taught was just diagnostics, how to diagnose anything, how to start from the beginning, work, imagine, these are my words, but just creating a flow chart in your mind on the go and working through it. And so which came very naturally to me anyway. So diagnostics is something I felt like I take to after these stories, I take to it very naturally. I'm really quite adept at diagnostics. It's great. I should have told them stories first, but what like the best piece of advice that he ever gave the class, if I remember nothing from it, I think this was the most valuable, is that when you go into a job, you have certain information. Sometimes it's as little as this blank used to work and now this blank doesn't work. And so, that time period between when you first receive that information to when you actually get your hands on it, you can't think too much about it. You kind of run through it in your head a little bit, but he said the mistake was when you work through it in your head and you decide and you kind of start favoring that it's this or it's that, because it'll sway you as you're going through your diagnostics. You've already kind of thinking, well, it's probably this or it's probably this, and so as you're going through it, your results will kind of push you in that direction naturally. And so you have to go into it without any preconceptions. You have to just, once you get to it, you have to work through it, very methodically. And he told a story, and he told, the guy was, to me, he was like heroic in the way he could fix anything, and his everything he'd done in his life, and he was amazing, really an amazing person. But he talked about, his wife called, the furnace quit, and as he's driving home, like he's thinking about the furnace and everything. He said, well, he said he made the mistake of deciding what it was before he got there, and he spent half his night proving himself wrong. Basically, is what he did. And so that's something that I've always taken with me, is that when you're going through diagnostics, I like to kind of very very loosely, but just kind of build a flow chart through my head. Where am I going to start? The steps, the different things I'm going to do. Try and relate that to things I've seen in the past. But you don't want to work it through the end. You just kind of want to decide how you want to build all the yeses and nos, but you don't want to answer any of the yeses or nos yet. So that was just such a fantastic piece of advice. And it seems like such a simple thing, but it's really saved me a lot of times. And I've proven myself many times too that it was good advice.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes the best classes are not necessarily about what the class is about.
Uh, ooh, I gotta think about that. I think you just broke my head.
Sorry.
Well, kind of like the show. I mean, people come to the
Right.
show, it's tech talk, but hey, they're all set next Halloween.
Bingo. On the
Hey,
nose.
I give you the Tim Bauermeister guarantee. You will the no the no egg the no egg on your siding guarantee. If you have egg on your siding next Halloween, I guarantee you I will not come clean it off.
Guaranteed.
That's a guarantee.
Guaranteed. So last week, like I mentioned, I was at OLF. I went and listened to Doors talk about podcasting, and
Yeah.
that'll be in the show notes. So that was good. He did a good job with that. Just talked about some of the tools that he uses, the mixers, the microphones, what things do. Yeah, it was good. It was podcasting with Linux. But yeah, check it out if you're interested at all. I know I don't have a mixer, so all I have is this one microphone you see in front of my face. Just USB straight into my computer. Nothing fancy. Mitch has a different microphone. We actually just have the same microphone but different interfaces because he's got a mixer, so he has everything recorded on his side. Dor goes into what to do about post-production, then during the production, no, pre-production, during the production, and then post-production tools. What to do for tagging, what to do for editing, what do you do when things clip. He really spends a lot of time going through all this stuff and talking about it. And every year, this is the third one I've heard of him, and it makes it. He does a good job with it, and every year he's getting better and better with it. And it's a great podcast. It's a great one to listen to. If you go to the Ohio Linux Fest page. I believe the audio may be up there. I'm not sure yet, but go ahead and definitely check that link out.
Yeah, this is I'm amazed that the stuff that I mean I don't know how you monetize. I don't know how you'd sell it, but I'm just looking at this. It's like I'm amazed at the stuff that give it away. I mean, I'm looking at this. It's this had to be a pretty fantastic speech. But just the information. This is all about equipment and everything. I mean, I wouldn't know where to start. And I'm looking at this, and it's pretty fantastic. It's like all the crib notes from the genius upstairs.
Yeah. He definitely did a good job with it, and that was fun to listen to that. So I called. So Sunday after I landed, like I said earlier, I ended up flying down to the Bay Area because I had a user who just said, "Hey, I just clicked on a whole bunch of stuff. My firewall started going crazy. It blocked a lot of stuff, but I realized I got myself into trouble." So I tried to make a remote connection with her computer. It wouldn't work out very well. Just was very unstable. I said, "Well, looks like I'm going to need to come down." So I flew down first thing Sunday morning. Walked in, already had a plan. Was going to use my D7 tools. Walked in, plugged it in, hit repair, and kind of just worked on another machine. Since I was down there, I thought, well, I'm here. I'll clean up this other machine, run D7 on it. We switched over her antivirus. We needed to create some offsite backups that she wanted to do. So I had to-do lists since I was already there. I was there for 2.5, maybe 3 hours. Ran D7. Everything was good. I could get online now. I could make a connection. Things were just looking good. Was able to get home earlier. Monday morning, I got a call from her. Yesterday morning, got a call from her saying still having some connection issues. Can't run this one program. I thought that's odd. She can get to a web page, so that's all been resolved. But what's happening is one of the web pages isn't parsing out some data that she needs. And I was having some other connection issues, but I was just waiting for the computer to reboot, and sometimes it just takes a little time. So I was going in, looking around it, and trying to figure out what was going on, and I would notice in Internet Explorer that her proxy was set. And you can go in there and you can check use proxy, and if you go to advanced, it was set to 127.0.0.1 port 8000, and the 127.0.0.1 is a loopback address. So if you don't know that, that just basically tests itself. So the proxy was looking for itself for internet access on port 8000. And so that's weird. Uncheck it, hit OK, go to look, still not working. Go back into the proxy settings, it's checked again. Uncheck it, click OK, go back into the proxy settings again, it's checked again. Like, I can't uncheck the proxy. So I thought, well, okay, I throw my D7 back on the machine. This is all remotely now. I'm doing this from up here, and I worked on it for 4 hours yesterday. I reran scans and I reran like TDSS killer or TSS killer, the Kaspersky one, the rootkit. I mean, I ran Rogue Killer, TSS Killer, ADW, JRT, malware bytes, CCleaner to look at anything that's logging on, looking what's running. I mean, I had Liam on the phone. I was asking him some questions, trying to figure out if he had anything, and he kept saying, check this, check that. I said, yep. I even went into the registry and manually turned off and disabled the registry, went into the Windows service, tried to stop the Windows service because it's set to manual. So I disabled it, reboot the computer, proxy still checked, unchecked it, checked it. I mean,
was there a legitimate application that was doing that on purpose?
I didn't know.
Oh, okay. Actually, I was just
at the.
I'm hanging on to the end of this.
I know.
But I'm just like that was the one thought occurred to me. So all right, no, go ahead.
Well, so I don't know. That's the problem. Is there's nothing that stands out that says I'm a weird malware, because nothing is being caught. Everything is coming back completely clean with all these scans. And I'm like, this is weird. So I'm like, well, okay, I'm gonna get a hold of Nick Shaw, the creator of D7, and I shoot him an email, and it's kind of late, and so he ends up not being able to get a hold of him. But today I was able to talk with him, and I was actually talking with him and some of the other people that helped do some of the training for D7. And one of the guys says, check out this application, and it's called C Ports. That's the letter C, PORTS, and I'll throw that link in here. It's from Nearsoft, NIRSOFT, and what this application does is you run it. It's a small GUI, small executable. Run it, and it lists everything that's running, and then port numbers and stuff on it. So I can now search by port numbers and say, show me everything that's running on port 8000. Well, that's the same command that if you were in a Linux box or even in a Windows box, you can type in, at least in a Windows box, you can type in netstat, N-E-T-S-T-A-T, netstat, and you can do it on Linux box as well.
Yeah.
And it shows you what processes are running on your machine, and their IDs and things like that. So in Windows, you're going to want to run netstat ace, B as in boy, A as in apple, O as in Oscar, and that will give you ports and all the information that you need. So this little utility shows me on port 8000 there's a program called spd.exe, and sure enough, it's a rootkit. So I start Googling spd.exe.
Nothing else picked it up, huh?
Nothing else picked it up.
Son of a gun! Wow, look at that.
In this application, though, this C-Ports application, it's actually kind of cool because you can right-click on it. You can just say, take me to the folder. So it'll take you where that executable is running at.
Could you say again? It was spd
sampauldavid.exe.
spd.exe. Interesting. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. And one of the first links talks about it being in your Adobe Acrobat thing. So this could have been done. This could have been a fake, flash update or something along those lines.
Which we're seeing tons of that stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's really bad. Sorry.
No, that's okay. So I
digress.
Yeah. So I right click, processes, look at Task Manager. I see spd.exe running. I kill it. Then I go back to my C-ports, and I can say terminate everything running on that port. And now that the process is killed, it'll close those ports. Now I can go, and this was actually in the program files directory. I can go in there, and I was able to delete it. Just instantly delete it. I didn't have to do anything fancy. Killed it. Closed everything out. Rebooted her machine. Done. Problem solved. Fixed. She can now get the reports. The antivirus is talking again. The program is not being... the proxy is not being checked, but I couldn't. It was driving me. It was one of those small, tiny little problems that was causing such a huge issue. I mean,
what's amazing about it? Nothing picked it up. To me,
nothing picked it up.
Yeah,
What was this computer was causing so many problems, and it was the weirdest thing. It was, now I understand, because it was creating so many loopbacks on itself. It was actually crashing my Screen Connect server. It was actually killing the process on my Screen Connect server.
Wow.
Because I would log in with Screen Connect, and it would work, and then all of a sudden it would disconnect. It would reconnect, disconnect, reconnect. I could see everything working. I ended up giving Screen Connect a call, and calling them and saying, hey, this is a problem, showing them some of the log files. They jumped into my server with me, looked at some of the log files. We could see the server itself was actually restarting the service. So it was causing so much of a loopback that only thing that I can obtain it to is that it was causing so much traffic that it was actually killing my server. I called my hosting company. Hey, are you guys seeing any denial of service attacks? Because it was shutting my Screen Connect web page was going offline. It was killing all my sessions for other clients. It was the funkiest thing, and I solved it within, by the time I realized what it was, it took me 7 minutes to fix it.
Do you use Process Explorer? Did you try that?
But the problem is I didn't know. When I look at a list, I didn't know SPD.exe was bad.
The scans didn't turn up anything. Scan after scan. Yeah. I mean,
scan after scan.
Wow.
I mean, yeah. So check out. So just another tool to stick in your back pocket. cports.exe. Like I said, there's a link. There'll be a link in the show notes. If you ever have any questions about what's running on what port, something looks out of whack,
That's going to come in handy. A lot of people, they have those pop-ups or something they can't get rid of.
Yeah, well, especially things like, if you know if it's calling on something. So I knew it was calling. This proxy server I knew it was calling on a certain port, so I had a chance to just search by that port. But man, it was
good stuff up there. Nursoft, like wireless key view is another good utility.
Yeah.
Nursoft, they have all the awesome stuff that your AV doesn't like, so it's the good stuff.
Yeah,
they do. So, I mean, that guy, I mean, it's just like awesome program after awesome program after awesome program, and it's funny. It's almost like a little secret because, like, the website looks like it's from what, like 90s, 94, 95, right? It's just, but he's got all these and they're just like these little tiny little programs, and they're just nuggets, man.
Yeah.
So wow, well, good for Nearsoft and awesome for you. What an awesome story, man. That's fantastic.
Well, I just feel so good about it because it's an
Well, I wouldn't get my head too big about it.
Well, no, but a flight there, 3 hours on site.
I'm kidding.
A flight home, 4 hours yesterday, an hour and a half today, and now it's solved.
No, that's awesome. That's a good example of you can't diagnose that in your head too far ahead. I mean, because you beat your brains out. I mean, right. you went through the whole thing. You went through diagnostics step by step by step. And you got to the end. It's like, okay, so what now? I mean, if you decided what it was, you'd be like, reinstall. I mean, you would have had to give up because you couldn't prove yourself right. But of course, it's kind of spooky when you get to the end of the diagnostics, and it's like, oh, there's nothing left. But that's a fantastic. That's a great story. I like stories like that.
Well,
you just went in, gone, fixed, goodbye.
Right. Well, I mean, that's great for the customer. It's great for me because the owners of the company were talking about, what if she buys a new computer? Are we going to need to spend that? Are we going to have to fly you back down there to install a new computer? I mean, so when I called them to let them know, they were already on this whole, we need you to write up a report of what you did, what she's done, how everything's working, what's being fixed. And I said, wait, before we go too far, it's resolved. And they're like, what? I said, yeah, I fixed it already. This is what happened. And they thought, excellent, never mind, you're great, awesome, good work. But one of the things it is, and this is, I know that's something that I have to work on myself, is that we all nobody likes to admit there's at least a little bit of defeat. We all are in this together as techs, and it's okay to call on another tech to ask for help, to bounce ideas off of.
That's what we're doing here. That's what we do here.
Because
that's what this is.
I would have never heard about this tool because it's just something I've never come across, and now I know about it, and now you guys know about it So don't ever feel like as a tech that that you can't or you shouldn't call on anybody else, or that another tech's going to say, well, why didn't you think of that? That was dumb. We're all in this together, and I can't listen to all the news stories, and what I follow may be something that may be completely different than other people follow. I mean, look at some of the the guys who call in and write into us, and the gals who call in. They're talking about PowerShell scripts and stuff like that. I have never once written a PowerShell script.
No
Those
idea.
guys are smart, but yet I know that we can call on them if we ever have any PowerShell questions, because that's what they do. Where somebody may call on me if they've got Active Directory issues or questions.
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, I'm meeting with kind of a side note to that one. I'm meeting with a client tomorrow. So last week, an HVAC system was installed. Well, HVAC system has been ongoing installation at the school I work at. They are finishing up getting everything done. Now they need remote access into the HVAC system. So we need to do some port forwarding, assign static IP addresses to their little microcontrollers inside the school. So we get all that done. Last week I go in. It was actually Thursday. I go in. We do some port forwarding really quick. I'm there on my laptop. I'm talking to the technicians. Can you guys get in? Yep, everything's looking really good. Great. I was in and out in an hour. See you guys later. They called me today out of the blue, and it caught me so off guard that it took me a moment to wrap my head around who exactly they were. What's happening is they use a wireless cradle point when they're working on these systems and they're not fully embedded yet. The wireless cradle points use an AT&T wireless card. So that is how they use then that external IP address to connect to the HVAC systems remotely during the initial installation. Once everything's set and done, then what they want to do is then they take that and they move it over to the internal IP address of the site, and then talk to their IT guys and do some port forwarding. So they called me though because they're having issues with some port forwarding on their devices, and their systems administrator can't figure it out. Their programmers can't figure it out. So they asked me, could I come down tomorrow morning, and take a look at these devices and see what I can do about showing them or sitting down with their systems administrator and basically bringing in another tech to look at this device and say, how can we get some port forwarding working on these, because things just aren't working. And so I was kind of honored to be called in, and it's a huge HVAC system company here in the Portland area that I see all over the place. They have a fleet of cars.
Yeah.
And they have their own systems and techs administrators on site, but yet they, because I was able to get them up and running so smoothly last week, they wanted me to come down and take a look at it with them. I was taken back and just kind of in awe of and honored to do that.
Well, it's nice to be able to to step in, but it's you've told a lot of stories where you've been the guy that's kind of been called in, just kind of like an independent third party. You go into this business. You've got the users on one end, you've got the in-house IT on the other side. It's not like you're in a position where you're a mediator, right? But you are an independent third party, and you've got meaning that nobody there has made you angry yet.
Yeah.
You haven't chosen a side yet, but I mean, there's a lot to be said for bringing in somebody who has a fresh set of eyes that can review all the data, just very independently go through it, and but just not it doesn't mean that you're Superman. You just fly in and press a button and all is resolved and you can just fly away. But just come in and I don't know how many times have you stared at something forever? You've just you stared at it too long, and you just ask somebody, you're like, what do you make of this? Or like, oh, it's right there. You're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, that's just exactly what happened in the Bay Area.
I've been staring at that forever, and I just you get a blind spot, and so there's a lot to be said for calling in somebody. I mean, I'm saying I wouldn't I wouldn't think of this. You know what? Just call somebody. And if Martin were to come in and say, "Boom," I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, thanks." You know what? Because I just want things fixed. I just want resolution, and you're doing everybody here a favor. So you've told a lot of stories where you're the guy that's called in and just gives a fresh set of eyes and ears, and it's good to be that guy.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
that's not me though. That's not my personality to be that guy.
Well,
And so
you better buck up, son, because you've been telling a lot of stories that kind of go like that.
I've gotten 3 new clients in the last 2 weeks because people I got a call today just out of the blue, and it took me a moment again to realize it. And they said, "Hey, we got we have a referral that we want to give you. Are you interested?" Sure. Like, oh, okay, yeah. And it's a company that I've worked with before in the past, and they've always just thrown stuff at me. So I think the guy needed it wasn't going to be anything big. The guy needed a laptop. Didn't sound like he was happy with any laptop he gets. And so they were going to, since I don't build computers, it didn't matter to them. I mean, they would pass it on to me. I would pretty much just do a consultant type fee with him and say, this is the laptop I would recommend to you, or they would say, or they could just do it and keep the money themselves. So I have a feeling they didn't call me back about it. So I have a feeling they said, well, if all Martin's going to do is recommend a laptop, we can do that and make ourselves some money. So that was fine. But that was just one of the 2 calls today of, hey, can you help us out? So I'm hiring, essentially, is what I'm coming down to. I've got to hire somebody. I need a break. Need a vacation.
All the businesses you go into, you ought to poach a couple good people.
I should. Well, the problem is that I go into the businesses to fix things that other people can't fix. So that'd be not the smartest idea, I don't think. Who would I take? If they could do my job, then they don't need me. Not that I want them to do my job, because then I wouldn't have a job. But
you make a point.
Yeah.
Okay, you make a point.
I had a client call me yesterday saying I can't print. I said okay. She says
It's just like my soul just dies a little bit. At least it's not. You know what? At least it's not an email. I'll take a printer. At least there's some chance maybe there's some hardware involved. Go ahead. I'm listening, bud.
No. So, well, what happened? Well, it's an all-in-one fax copier scanner. They moved some stuff. She said literally the pieces, like the printer is so old. It's an HP. It's USB, but parts were falling off the back of it. So they put it. They did. I guess a module for the fax machine popped out and broke apart. So they put it back together.
That's great. I love it.
So they put it back together and they got it working, but then the printing stopped and they couldn't figure out what was going on with it. Well, so I remote in and I jump in and I take a look, and they have 3 printers, 2 USB and one's a LPT port. Just like a Canon, and 2 HP printers USB. So I go on and look at the HP setting, the print settings, and if a printer dies, you can redirect print jobs. That's pretty easy to do. The problem I run into is that if I redirect, what happened is I tried to redirect a print job back or fix the HP 7500, and it was kicking it over to the 9100. And so every time we printed to one, it was printing to the other. And I thought, well, this is silly. There's got to be some way to fix this. I came across an HP print and scan doctor. It'll be a Google link in the chat in the notes, and I'm going to put a Google link here because the link is pretty long. But what this does is it actually goes through, and my brother has one as well. It will actually go through and look at all your printers. You can click on the one you want, and then it goes through and actually repairs the print jobs. And so once this printer was up and running, I ran this tool, said repair on the 7500, and it fixed all the USB connections, it fixed all the scanning connections, it fixed all the faxing connections. And then I went ahead and ran it against the 9100 just to make sure on that one, fixed all the stuff. Probably, by the time that I jumped in, figured out what was going on, found this tool, because initially I thought, we'll just reload the drivers. Well, then you scroll down and there's this diagnostics. I thought, well, let's run the diagnostics. Why not? Fixed it up. She was back up and running within 20 minutes after calling me. Another good tool just to have on hand. Just these HP. It's called the HP Print and Scan Doctor, and I know Brother makes one just
Wow.
as well. So anytime you run into these things where the printers just stop running, stop connecting, stop communicating, run this. This may resolve the issue, and then you don't have to worry about uninstalling and reinstalling because HP installs, especially with two HP printers. HP's got all the scanning tools, all the OCR tools, all of that stuff that goes along with it. If you uninstall one, then you got to install the other. It was just going to be it was going to be just a big problem. So, HP Print and Scan Doctor.
You know what? That's good to know. I mean, you had a good experience with it because there's a whole lot of horrible words put together into one title.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, there really is. I mean, HP Print and Scan, that sounds like something that I would just run screaming from. It just sounds awful. But, yeah, hey, you know what? I mean, that's good to know.
Yeah, it's 6.3 megs, so it's not very big.
Wow, they must have contracted out for that one.
Yeah, they might. Yeah, so I liked it just because, like I said, I had two printers on USB, and USB, then you have to figure out which ports the USB is on, and like it could get messy really quick. Ran this, everything worked.
Wow, that's great.
Was impressed.
And it had nothing to do with parts falling off the back.
No, apparently not.
I'm really disappointed. I thought it was gonna be hardware.
Yeah. I said, do you want me to run out there and take a look? I can come out this morning, and they said no.
Oh, remote fix.
Remote fix.
Awesome.
I got a call.
Well, hey, we'll take that. Anytime you can stay at home, stay in the shop and fix it remotely. Boom, beautiful.
Yeah. Had another one of the calls of basically, this has been broken for a week. Can you fix it? You should have called me a week ago. This morning. It was, coffee shop called me. The cash drawer. They use Square. It's the coffee shop that I work at. They use a Square app. When you want to print a receipt, you print a receipt. The receipt printer is hardwired. Actually has a physical hardwire to the router. And then the cash drawer actually connects to the receipt printer. There's a in and out. What was happening is you would go to print a receipt would print. You go to do a cash drawer, and the drawer would never open. So I walked in and I turned off the receipt printer and turned it back on. It reconnected. Went back to the little iPad, hit test print receipt, print receipt, hit test cash drawer, cha-ching, the door opens up. I close it, test cash drawer, cha-ching, the door opens up.
Did you take a little bit out each time?
No. What was? It's like, no, of course not. So I called the
one for me, one for you, one for me.
The owner standing right there.
I can do this all day. Testing.
Cha-ching. Oh, there's still money in there. Cha-ching. I can still see green. So I called the owner over and I said, so when this happens, this is what we need to do. Just turn off the printer, turn it back on, see if that works. And they said that resolved it. I said that fixed it. They said we should have done that a week ago.
True dat.
Hey, Martin, can I ask you a question real fast on the cure ports or C ports? You said it did show up as an executable?
Well, do you mean the application or the rootkit?
The rootkit. When you ran C ports.
Yeah, because I ran the program, sorted by the port, looked at port 800 or 8000, and then right off to the right of it, it showed me what the program was, and it was spd.exe.
Okay, because I'm playing with it on my i5 here. It looks really interesting.
Yeah. So, and if you notice, you can right-click on one of the drives, one of the applications, and then you get a drop-down, and one of them is basically take you right to the folder that it's located in. So.
Hey, and you know what? Actually, getting back to that real quick. When you have something like that, I'm telling you what to do. When I have something like that, it's merely a suggestion. It's something that you can't count on your virus scanner. The virus scanner, finds it, but then it finds all the other stuff that came with it. So, if there's any, registry entries, if there's any, the actual executable that was downloaded, if it was like installed, all the ancillary files, you it sound like you kind of rooted out like the actual executable itself, but it's not like you have CCleaner and Malwarebytes rooting out all the little bits of it, and so if when I have something like that, if I want to be satisfied that I got all of it, you guys ever use everything? It's called everything.
Oh, I was going to say, I've
I,
never heard of
Sometimes
everything.
I use something, but no, it's pretty fantastic. It's kind of like, imagine like Windows search and indexing if it actually worked like really well. Um, it, Everything is, it's one of those like awesome things. I don't think I would have ever tried it, but it's one of the many super cool things that I've kind of discovered from Ninite. Um, there's so many great things there that, years ago when I started using Ninite, it's like, oh, what does this do? What does that do? Everything is one of those things that I tried, and I installed on everything. It's mine. It's absolutely wonderful. It's just so fantastic, and um, it's basically, imagine Windows search if you could actually just punch in something and you have instant results, and there's no crazy grinding of your hard drive for hours and hours on end. Um, and so that's something that I don't know if it may be available as a portable app. I don't recall. I think maybe it is, but um, anyway, using everything. For example, it was, what was it? SPD.exe, is that right? And so um, one thing I would definitely search up SPD.exe and see if there's anything else anywhere on the machine that calls up. And then, searching Google, I'm seeing that there's a number of other, actually there are, folders that it's suggesting to go into where you might find uh, where this thing is hiding out, and so there's going to be other files associated with that. But I might search up Google and see what other files might be associated with SPD.exe, and throw them in everything and see if it kicks up anything else. You never know what, especially as these things evolve. I mean, I'm looking at information from, this guy solved it last February. Well, I'm going to have to assume that things evolved somewhat since last February, especially if Malwarebytes isn't detecting it. I'm thinking something's changed somewhere, and so everything is great for, um, you know, would be really good in this particular situation, because you could kind of get a quick look through the machine and see if there's any other related files that are just kind of hanging out. Not not that not that they're ever going to be a threat, not that they're an issue at the moment, but if you're gonna clean it up, I always kind of like getting what I don't know what I'd call artifacts, or just all the leftover bits. I, I would do that, but yeah, I like everything. It's highly recommended, just as a in place of Windows search. It's pretty fantastic tool. It's really it's really pretty powerful.
Yeah, I just put a link into the show notes. It's by Void Tools, VOIDTOOLS, and it looks cool. I have never used that before. This is actually, the thing with Ninite is that there's so many different tools on that page that I don't have a clue what some of them do.
Well, and that's exactly it. And so, well, usually, excuse me, whenever I'm doing a clean install, I'll go hit my Ninite, and I'm like, oh, what's this? What's that? And so usually that's I download all the old standards, but I'll say, oh, wow, what's this? So like, maybe I feel maybe I'm silly, but the Notepad, what is it called? It's Notepad plus plus. You
Hmm.
ever use that?
Oh yeah, I used to use that. That was my stock Notepad program when on Windows.
Well, yeah. See, and I mean that's one of those things where it's like the entire audience goes, well, yeah, duh. I hear a chorus of it coming out. It's like, whoa, everybody, how would I know that unless I just try it out? And Notepad plus plus, it's I love it. It's really fantastic. And everything is kind of like that too, as well as Paint.net, and so many fantastic programs that I've discovered from Ninite. So yeah, I love everything. Well, I love the program everything. I don't necessarily love everything. Some things I just merely tolerate.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah. I love Fred though. That dude's all right.
Dude, how do you feel about Dropbox?
Um, I feel neither one way or another about it. I use it. Um, I just throw stuff in there that.
It's funny you say that. That was a topic on Jeff Howell Sunday, on his show Sunday, the
I
calling.
see. I hadn't heard. I mean, every once in a while something crops up about it, but it's still
They
kind
don't.
of.
They're talking about backup. They don't want to consider that as a
Oh
backup.
well,
It
it's
doesn't
Well,
work
yeah.
like
it's
working in the background.
I'll tell you what, Dropbox. What I like about Dropbox, I've got it on the computer, I've got it on my phone, and what I like about it is that I can automatically hit a screenshot. I can take a screenshot on my computer. It automatically backs up Dropbox, and that screenshot's already in my phone. That's for some reason that's something I do a lot. But there's a number of things. It seems to kind of grease the wheels between these different devices.
I love Google Drive. I love that. Yeah. I have when I bought my HTC One M8, it came with I think I have like 100 gigabytes for 2 years. Storage one there.
Well, the reason I asked is because Microsoft is now going to tap into Dropbox. So
Okay, well,
Microsoft,
I hate it. Now it's ruined.
yeah, it's exactly. Exactly.
What did they tap into? Did they buy it? And
Well,
they're
so
gonna
here's the little thing from Engadget. It says Microsoft would just love it if you use OneDrive for all your document storage needs, but let's face it, loyalties to rival cloud services run deep. Over the coming weeks, you'll be able to access your Dropbox files from your Microsoft Office apps and edit those Office documents from within the Dropbox mobile app.
please.
So
They're gonna kill someone.
Are they going to still continue their OneDrive thing? Or what?
I would assume so. This makes me wonder if Microsoft is going to be purchasing,
Good point.
Dropbox coming in the future.
That's a shame. Please do not do it.
Competition is great. This would,
no. You know what's great? Things that work and that are free. Free things that work already. Things that are free and work right now are good. Please nobody do anything. Okay, Microsoft, just go make up another thing, kind of like it. That's fine. Just leave this alone. You know what works really well? Martin?
what's that?
My municipal water system. And I like it the way it is. The water goes up in the tower, gravity brings it down to my toilet, and you flush a little hand, and the toilet does its job, and then it all goes away. I like this. It works. Okay? It doesn't need to be taken over by Microsoft to provide toilet cloud services to their one crap.
Yeah, honey, go call
Whatever.
Microsoft. The toilet's broken.
Because they do this. They keep coming in and taking over things that they don't need to do. Just go do your own thing. Don't touch this thing that works that I like and it's perfect. You're ruining my life over here. One little thing at a time.
John in the chat pretty much says death to Dropbox is imminent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think as soon as Microsoft starts touching things, it's if Google buys something, they could buy it just to kill it. They've done that before. They've got enough money. Microsoft could buy something just to kill it, all for the sake of making sure that what they have is the only product.
Yeah, but
Okay. So then CT Tech guy also mentions that there's things like OwnCloud. So really,
makes me bang my head against the microphone like crazy. And who do I blame? It was easy when it was Bill Gates. It was easy. But who do I blame now? It's just a faceless corporation, isn't it?
well, it's the one guy who says that women shouldn't ask for raises.
Well, I don't know how women should feel about that.
I don't.
I think
You're right.
I think that's how it started. You know what? I'll tell you how I feel about this thing about Dropbox, and I don't feel good about it. I think I made that pretty clear.
David says
Is anybody else with me, please? Is anybody else with me? Microsoft, don't touch things.
Oh, I think everybody's.
They're like a toddler. Don't touch that. Microsoft, don't touch that.
Well, David in the chat room says, what did he see? He said, they see a moneymaker and gobble it up, and then says that's what they did with Skype, the largest SIP trunk vendor in the world, to fatten up their Microsoft Links platform.
That's a good point.
That's my David, by the way.
Well, yes, of course, that's your David.
Always good to see him in the chat.
David, your dad says you need to be home by 10.
He is home. It is.
And
Good job, David.
Yeah, he was.
He everything is virtualized at his house. I mean, I don't have a clue what he's talking about. I took a picture of it. It's so sophisticated, really cool though. I mean, really, really neat.
And yet, and yet your grandson goes as a fireman. I mean, what's that? Couldn't he go as like a kind of Linux, some kind of virtual Linux server or something?
That will be the future, I'm sure.
Okay. Hey, you know what? And kind of along the Dropbox, so I want to mention that I saw today that, did you see this? Amazon is giving Prime members unlimited cloud photo storage.
Yep.
Okay. So now see, I think this is good. This doesn't make. Now I haven't read into it yet, and I don't know what I don't know what the catches are, but nowhere in here did I see the word Microsoft.
You saw Amazon.
Well, I don't know. I don't really feel one way or the other. Well, actually, Amazon does most things well, right? So, but I didn't see, and you know what? What I didn't see where they were taking something I like and changing it and ruining it. They're just, this is like something. This is like they're doing their own thing. This is something new, and it looks like an addition to something that I already have. This looks like a good thing. So I don't know. I wanted to kind of throw it out. If you had, I didn't get to read up on it, but it reminded me of the whole Dropbox thing.
Yeah, so basically it looks like they're going to be offering Amazon Prime members unlimited amount of storage for photos. The photos then can be accessed, so you can have a iOS, Android, and Fire phone and tablets, as well as Mac and PC. You get the Amazon Cloud Drive app, or and then you can those pictures can be viewed on big screen via Amazon Fire TV, game consoles, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and some models of LG, Samsung, and smart TVs. So. Yeah, you get unlimited limited amount of storage, but then you can view them on different devices. I have Dropbox on my phone. I take a picture, it syncs into Dropbox. It works for me.
Well, how much? I'm out of space.
Well, okay, so yeah, there you go. My Dropbox, I did have to increase my Dropbox storage, so that's a good point. Now I pay for that, where now I could put all my photos in Amazon.
Yeah.
If you have Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, which I do.
Which I already do, yeah. And it's not terribly expensive.
Well, non-Prime, it says non-Prime members will get 5 gigs free.
Oh. Kind of like Dropbox.
Yeah, and
Before
there's a versus...
ruined.
Yeah. Before it got ruined. Well, so keep an eye on this, because Amazon won't be bought by Microsoft. And I think if Amazon's bought by Microsoft, I might as well I'm going to just turn off the internet.
Amazon is in down Baltimore now, and they're open. They're working down.
That's for the that's right. I'm hitting the physical switch to the wireless.
Netflix just closed. They actually had a physical call center here in the Hillsborough area, and they closed it because nobody was needing to call. Everybody has switched to streaming. Right. That the call center for physical CDs has died down. My parents still get physical CDs. I don't know when the last time I get it's been years. And but yeah, they closed the Netflix call center because it's.
What does the call center do? My desk doesn't work. Flip it over. It works.
Oh yeah. Did you take it out of the red sleeve?
Is there really that much that goes wrong?
I don't know. They needed a call center for something.
I've rented a couple of bad movies at Redbox. I called them up and told them it was bad.
Yeah. Well, you know what? But you know what? There's an issue there though with the machines, because you have that interface between humans and their machines, and I come on here once a week, pretend I know what I'm doing, but I still jam two of them movies in at once and it got jammed up. So apparently you have to put them in one at a time or something. Wait for.
It's not like one of those multi CD player things.
I was in a hurry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Cool, guys. I think we call that a wrap. So it's a bummer because the chat room's hopping. We got people watching us.
Yeah, but I've had enough.
Time change. I'm done. I've met my quota of you ugly.
You know what? I am. I don't know. Time change something. I don't know.
Well, I do have to go pick up my son, so that's why I got to call it.
That's true. We do have a killer chat room, man.
I know. They're
full
going on.
Loaded up. I tell you what, just hang out. There's gotta be something good coming on after this.
Reruns.
Really?
We're gonna be showing a rerun of Good Times. I don't. I got nothing.
Well, I might stay for that.
Well, that's dynamite.
Yes.
All right.
What? We have to pay if you say more.
Oh, sorry. It's not. It's not
It's
explosive.
just dino.
Dino.
It's dino.
Well, David, I think you need to get off work just a little bit earlier then. All right. So, Mitch, if people want to get a hold of us, what's the best way they can send us an email, a voicemail?
Geeksters@podnuts.com or call us at 7076-PODNUT. That's 707-676-3688.
Tim, are you accepting anybody request? Are you accepting any requests?
What you mean, like karaoke or something?
Well, I don't know. If people want to call you, are you?
Oh yeah, I mean, if you want to get a hold of me, say hello. Just Fred, if you want to talk to the hat, I'm Tim Bauermeister on the G+.
If people want to get a hold of me, Martin at obandocomputing.com. You can find me at mobando in the Google Plus. I'm there. I'm around. And I wanted to, we're coming up on, it's November, Christmas coming up. Never too early to start. Never too early to start looking at presents. I had to order some stuff through podnuts.com/Amazon. My 18-year anniversary is next Tuesday, so there may or may not be a show next Tuesday.
That thing's legal. Your marriage will finally be legal.
My marriage will finally be legal. It's 18 years old.
I'll tell you what, yeah.
I think Dora's going to pull the show after this one.
No.
Don't forget to check out all of the other shows on the Podnuts Network. Call That Girl, Android App Addicts, Linux for the Rest of Us, and so much more. So check it out, podnuts.com/Amazon. And again, podnuts.com. And then if you want to buy some stuff, podnuts.com/Amazon. If you are interested, I hear, and you're an Android user, I hear the Android App Addicts t-shirts are going to be coming back on sale soon. So
nice.
Start saving up that penny jar. Maybe pull out those nickels and start counting them. But guys, great show. It was always fun to meet with you guys again and hang out. I got to go get some family stuff done, and actually I got to get back to work for tonight. So my work is never done. Sometimes I feel like Clark Kent. I'll just rip off the glasses and file sell. But
there is no independent third-party superhero. I am independent third-party man.
I think it was bought out by Google. I mean, by Microsoft.
That's right. That's right.
Microsoft bought the independent third-party man and shut him down.
He had a cease and desist. He had a cease and desist by YouTube. All right, guys.
Independent third-party man.
Just a big oh man, we gotta go. I gotta go. All right, guys, have a great week. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Oh gosh. I am independent third party man.
All right, I do have to go though, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the broadcast. Thank you.
So much fun. Thanks, guys. Love it. Chat, you're awesome.
For everybody hanging out with us. We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.